Hello, everybody. Adelaja here from Kyiv, Ukraine. I am today with Innocent MAGAJI. I am here with Innocent MAGAJI today, and he's going to be talking about a very, very interesting question that I would wish that many more Nigerians would know about. We are going to be talking today on on Nigerian satellite program, space station, Nigerian satellite space station. So we want to talk about satellite space station and Nigerian chances in exploring the space. And the way this title was, this topic, this program is titled is $1 trillion. Actually, it's $1 trillion reason why Nigeria must urgently develop a satellite space station. So, Babush, you remove S after the dollars. $1 trillion reason why Nigeria must urgently develop a satellite space station. So, this is a new topic for a lot of our people, for a lot of Nigerians, because a lot of Nigerians think that Nigeria is so backward that Nigeria cannot even produce pencil. And there was a news recently that Nigeria just started producing its first pencil, which is of course ridiculous because Nigerian military has been producing military arms, military wear for so long. They have been producing tanks, a little of their own, of course, what they are capable of doing. They have been producing vehicles, military vehicles. So, and right now, of course, we know about Innocent that has been producing vehicles. So, but the way Nigerians laugh and, degrade themselves, they make it look as if Nigeria cannot even do pencil, talk less of car, talk less of something like that. But Nigeria has actually gone beyond that. Nigeria is one of the leading nations in Africa in space exploration. No, we are behind the world, of course, but Nigeria is right now, it has been in the space for over 15 years. Nigeria has been exploring space for over 15 years. And also, there is a guy they put in charge of telecommunication technology in Nigeria right now that is planning to put, maybe Innocent will explore that and tell us later on. The guy wants Nigeria to be one of the leading countries in 5G technology. So he is a real, I think he's from Gombe State or something like that, or Nasarawa State, but the guy is a great mind. He was working in Scotland, I think, in Saudi Arabia and America, then United States, United Kingdom, and now he's heading our space, no, not space, but telecommunication space. And then we have another guy that was the builder for Ford, the designer for Ford, and he's now heading our automobile industry agency in Nigeria. And now he has designed, he's now raising up new designers, new car designers, and he's going to produce Nigerian-made car very soon. And so there are things going on in Nigeria that, because we are so clouded with politics. If you go beyond politics, look inside Nigeria more carefully, you will see that Nigeria is making a lot of progress in a lot of areas, not as fast as we want, not as good as we wish them to do, but let's leave politics alone. If you leave politics alone, you will know that things are not as bad in Nigeria as people paint it to be. And of course, the opposition party is doing a huge job to make sure that everything about the country is painted in a negative light. But really, there are some good things that are going on in that country, and we need to acknowledge them. And I think Innocent MAGAJI is one of the people that wants it to even go at a faster rate and at a faster pace. So he is going to enlighten us today about satellite technology, about satellite space station, and the need for Nigeria to have their own station. Because all the satellites that Nigeria has launched into the space have come from other stations, from other countries' stations. And I just, I know that we have 3 or 4 stations, but I just cross-check with Innocent now that we actually have 5. So we have 5 satellites, that has been launched by Nigeria. And last year, I think last year or so, Ghana launched a satellite. And I read it in the newspaper. People were saying, oh, even Ghana has gone to the space, and Nigeria has not done anything. Nigeria cannot even do pencil, and now Ghana is in space. They don't know that Nigeria has gone to space 10 years before Ghana. But Nigeria just put their country down, because they don't know, or they don't do research or what. But I was just reading those articles and I just laughed. But I'm not going to be the talker for today. I'm just the host, but the person who is going to teach us today and enlighten us is Innocent MAGAJI. So let's welcome Innocent MAGAJI all the way from Paris, France.
Thank you so much, DSA. Actually, those Nigerians that are despair are not happy when they saw that Ghana first launched their satellite. That was the first time Ghana is actually sending one satellite to space. That's their first time they are sending a satellite. And there are satellites have different functions. We need satellite for telecommunication, satellite for internet, and only one single satellite can cover the radius of, like, let's say 300 kilometers. So one single satellite cannot cover an entire country. So for Ghana to be able to have internet in every rural area, they need more satellites to do all these things. So having one single satellite is not enough to start saying, oh, your country is not moving. Most Nigerians are actually ignorant of this, of the numbers of satellites that Nigeria have. What the reason for this program, DSA, I want to thank you first of all for continuing, and our viewers. People should share more and more so that people will get to know this information, people will get to hear about what is going on in Nigeria, and this program to highlight what Nigeria already has and what we can do, the incentive that we need to go further. Because most Nigerians today are ignorant. They think that only the government can handle satellite program. But no, a single individual can do it. A single individual can come up. If you saw what happened recently, the Nigerian and the South African satellite, they call it the Zanibox satellite. It was built by some group of students in the university. They were carrying out an experiment. So they sat in their lab and they did all the building. So this program is divided into 3 sections. Yes, they participated in the construction of the satellite. They all did all the stats and the production. Nigeria spent millions of pounds and dollars in construction. And that's what we're going to look into now. So the program is actually divided into 3 parts. The first part, I take it as if I'm speaking to students that are still learning. So because a lot of people, a lot of Nigerians, even me myself, I'll confess, I was completely ignorant about all these things until I spent much time to research into this information, collect this information to share with you. So I want to, first of all, elaborate, explain what satellite means, how it functions, where it's located, different types of satellite, how much it costs to produce a satellite. These are the kind of information I will bring into you. So please go ahead, share the video far and wide, invite your family, invite friends so that they will be able to see. So I want to be able to use 15 minutes to be able to just do this short presentation. And afterward, there is a 15-minute video that will go and explain to us how lucrative this satellite business, this space station exploration is. That is why the title of the video is $1 reason why Nigeria needs to urgently develop its satellite space station program. So I will start with the first slide now. I don't know where we are now. I cannot see the screen.
Slide. Okay, no, I don't think the slide is ready yet. Is the slide ready? No? We will need a few minutes. Just keep on talking right now. We will need a few minutes to have the slide on. Yes.
All right. Okay. Well, I have a slide here.
Okay.
The first part was just a picture of
before you even begin with the slide, what will you say about people saying that Nigeria cannot even produce a pencil?
DSA, Nigeria. Anyway, that feeling of despair is because people are not feeling it here. But most people that are watching us now, you don't know. Nigeria is great. There's Nigerian GDP reach $1 trillion.
Sorry?
The GDP of Nigeria will reach up to $1 trillion by the year 2030.
20?
30.
Okay.
And people that are watching will be like, how would that happen? Is it going to be by magic? Do you know the GDP of France? France has 2 trillion GDP. GDP of France is 2 trillion. And GDP of Germany is 3 trillion. GDP of here is almost like 20 trillion.
Did you see my video on that, on the Nigerian economy and how much the Nigerian economy must be like?
Yes. I watched it. I even shared it to people.
How much did I challenge that we must have?
4 trillion.
4 trillion. And I have a program. If you are interested, I will show you. I have two or three backup programs of how we could make Nigeria economy to be 4 trillion economy in 10 years. I have a program of how to make Nigeria economy 4 trillion economy in 10 years. So for me, it's going to be a huge disappointment if Nigeria's economy becomes $1 trillion economy by 2030. For me, it's going to be a huge disappointment. I know the way to make Nigerian economy $4 trillion economy.
That's true. I agree with you. And it's because of that reason, because this program is falling right
three. Sorry, go ahead.
This program is falling right at the moment where you are promoting this idea of developing brand new Nigeria. That is why I thought about it. I said, oh, we have to inject this into this, because I know you have a program, a plan on this. And there will be confusion. There are questions that people are asking. They wanted to function. DSA can lead this, because sending people to satellite doesn't require much scientific knowledge. What it requires is proper management. If you have the skill of managing experts, people that are brilliant, people that have the scientific knowledge, people that can build. So all you need to do is to manage them.
But you also need effective infrastructure.
Exactly, effective infrastructure. So these also, like, I don't know if it's part of the plan of having a Silicon Valley, a prototype, a Nigerian version of Silicon Valley, where you have people. There are brilliant people in Nigeria, brilliant of them. Like this other guy that is making design for Ford car. I know him. I've forgotten his name. Something
Aliyu.
Yeah, Aliyu something. When I saw it, I was very shocked. I was surprised. I say Nigerian designing for Ford. And you see the one of I've forgotten the model he first designed that bought for him.
It won the design of the year in America. Yes. And it even won the best design among all car producing countries, companies in the world.
And now he's back to Nigeria.
And he went back to Nigeria. He accepted Nigeria's invitation to move back to Nigeria, because there are a lot of other brilliant Nigerians that would not move back to Nigeria. They said Nigeria is not organized, no electricity, no infrastructure. He know this, know that, and they will not go. But this guy actually moved back to Nigeria. Actually, I started thinking that because there is another guy that moved back to Nigeria, and although I don't like the way they treated him, the guy in charge of hospital agency or something like that. And then this other guy has moved back to Nigeria in charge of telecommunication. But they are all northerners. It's like northerners are more willing to move back to Nigeria than southerners.
Yes. There are brilliant, I've seen them. Some group of students just came to my school. They just arrived and I put them through. And there is a scholarship, actually, northern version of scholarship that is sent thousands of students every year. The local government are sponsoring them. You see them in School of Commerce, very expensive schools here, 10,000 euros they're paying a year. 12,000, 15,000 they are paying, but you see from boy and family, but there's a provision for them, so they are coming back here. They will finish their school here. More, if you see other students from other region, they come to study here, they will just decide to say they don't want to go back again. But the northerners here, they are not even interested in staying in France. They say the place is too cold for them. The moment they are done with their studies, they are going back home, and they are sure that there's a work for them. So thank you so much. I'll just go straight forward into the presentation. Are we good, DSA?
Yeah, we are good to go. Only they want you to speak louder. The viewers are complaining that your voice is too low. My voice, they said it's okay.
Okay.
We made you loud, yeah, it's not okay, but you need to increase your voice.
All right. Okay. I will increase my volume. Is my voice loud now?
Yeah, better now.
All right. Okay. So
No, they said
the
it still
introduction
needs to
here.
be higher. Oh. I hear you perfectly well, but they said it's in your device. You need to put on, increase your volume in your inner volume over there. So try to increase everything, your volume inside. Check all volumes that you have and make sure they are all on the maximum.
Okay, I just did.
You just did, and then make sure you
Yeah.
also speak as loud as possible.
Now,
All right.
all right.
So we have the PDF or whatever, the slide.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's go to the introduction part now.
Okay. Is the introduction part this place or not? The next page.
No. This is the first slide. The next section is the introduction.
The next one. Okay, yeah.
Yes, exactly. So these are just the beginning of the ideas where I had. So what I wrote here is that when the idea of developing this project came to my mind, I curiously began to scavenge for research and studies written by specifically African astrophysicists. Not that it will make any difference if research and studies are conducted and written by Africans or melanated descendant of African origin. To me, it was simply a question of cultural curiosity. I wanted to understand what motivated them and why they had chosen astrophysics and what exactly they had hoped to achieve. But as I went deeper into my research, I
Just
decided to
louder,
narrow down.
louder.
Oh, still loud.
Yeah, go ahead.
I
Good
went
now.
deeper in.
Good now.
Okay.
Just make sure you
I
speak
went
louder.
Okay. I went deeper into my research. I decided to narrow down my research list to comprise solely of Black African astrophysicists born in Africa or belong to the second generation of African immigrants into foreign countries, because I knew this category are still culturally attached to their motherland. By these, I mean, given the color of their skin and their cultural background, they must have experienced racialism, causing them to reflect on their place and role in the society. How could one integrate enough into the Western world so as to not suffer racial classification? These were some of the questions I asked because I ended up with a catalog of brilliant Black astrophysicists working in large corporations, which I presumed they are working for the money or simply trapped in the Uncle Sam system. The reason why I initiated this question is that the common and the general consensus was to help in the development of the scientific domain, which I consider to be a very noble cause. But I want us to change the narrative. I want us to own our patent. I want us to have control over our destiny. I should not be misunderstood as a separationist. Neither am I trying to say it's us against them. I am simply trying to say we ought to look after our interests, just like anyone else has been doing. We ought to do this either by collective means or by individual who have the expertise not to shy away from taking bold steps. The goal of this mission is not just to secure the Nigerian national sovereignty, but to equally promote the entrepreneurial and private exploration of the space axis. It's an urgent mission that cannot be ignored. In conclusion, it's simple as the concept of sovereign nation taking over total control over sea, land, and sky sovereignty. So here are the questions that I raised in the beginning. I raised this question because a lot of people will be asking questions. They want to understand the entire concept. So these are the questions now. And the second slide now.
The second slide. Okay.
Yes. Okay. The first question is, what is a satellite? What are the classes of satellites? Because a lot of people would like to know these things. How many satellites currently in the space globally, universally? How many satellites do we currently have in the space? Where are the satellites located? Does Nigeria have satellite? Because a lot of people are ignorant, like we said in the beginning of this video. What type of satellite does Nigeria has? Because there are different types of satellite. There are low orbiting satellite, there are high orbiting satellite. So they are the geostationary satellites, and polar satellites. So we need to understand what types of satellite Nigeria has and what are their functionalities. So the next question is, can Nigeria fabricate their own satellite? What are the components necessary for the fabrication of satellite? What was the initial cost of the Nigerian satellite? Is Nigeria capable of independently financing, producing, launching, and managing her satellite? Why do we need satellite? What happened to that satellite? Who is responsible for the fabrication of the Nigerian satellite? Is it possible for an individual or private entities to develop their own satellite project in Nigeria? How many satellites does Nigeria need? That is the last question. So these are the kind of questions that I'll be addressing, and I'll speak to our people because I know a lot of people that are into this, they want to understand precisely what you need. But a lot of Nigerians don't even know that Nigeria even has some satellites. So it's good to have all these questions in place. So the next slide now. So the next slide is addressing the question of what is a satellite. So I went on to define, I say a satellite is simply a moon, a planet, or a man-made machine that orbits a planet or star. For example, Earth is a natural satellite because it orbits the sun. Likewise, the moon is a satellite because it orbits the Earth. Usually, the word satellite refers to a man-made machine that is launched into space and move around Earth or another body in space. But our focus will be on man-made satellite. That is the focus of our program today. So because people need to understand that there are natural satellites and there are artificial satellites. And the natural satellites are anything floating around. So the moon is one of the only single natural satellites on Earth. So this we're going to look at artificial satellites, the things that humans create for them to, spread. So the next slide now. The next slide is, how do we classify satellite? Satellites are classified and categorized based on masses, based on their weight, based on how heavy they are. Satellite can be built small to reduce large economic cost of launch vehicles and the cost associated with construction, functionalities, and geostrategic positions. In mass, that is the way now of satellites. We have the micro satellite and the nano satellite and the pico satellite. So these are some of the things now. So you see there is a chart that talks about their weight. So you can see a satellite can weigh as little as 500 grams. People don't even know that this is a kind of large entity or some kind of large material. So a satellite can be as little as a cube as my hands like this. All you need to do is to get the right materials to connect everything so that this needs to be sending in signals. So the next slide says, they also have different functionalities. Most satellites are equipped with high-resolution cameras and scientific sensors. Information about its land. Instrument point toward us to gather information about its land, air, and water. Other times they refer towards space to collect data from the solar system and universe satellite. Also, can see space better than telescope at Earth's surface. That's because satellites fly above the cloud, dust, and molecules in the atmosphere that can block view from ground level. The two most common view position of satellite are, we have the low orbit satellite. Two most common types of orbit are geostationary and polar satellite, which I already talked about. So there is a picture here. You're seeing the size of the satellite just in the hand of the picture, just as little as this. That is the satellite you're seeing. So all those big companies you're seeing around it are the solar panels, is where they store the energy, because the satellite doesn't function alone. It needs electricity to function, to send information. So they need the solar panel to collect energy directly from the sun, where the satellite is orbiting the Earth and hanging in the solar system. So the next slide talked about the question, how many satellites currently in space? The numbers of active artificial satellites orbiting the Earth are currently more than 2,000. So not more than that, just 2,000. 2,000. Now we're going to see the US alone has. How many satellites US alone has? As of November 2019, SpaceX has 192 satellites. We plan to deploy 600 more per launch at the rate of one launch every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, SpaceX want to be sending satellite to space every 2 weeks.
That who wants to do that?
SpaceX.
SpaceX is American agency of this. Okay.
The SpaceX is handled by one single individual, Elon Musk. He's a young guy from South Africa. He is the founder of SpaceX. He's the one building Tesla.
Yes.
He's the founder of Tesla. So this young guy single-handedly championed this program. We're going to see.
But is he based in America or in Canada?
He's based in America.
Okay.
Yes. We're going to see the revolutionary ideas he brought into the industry and how their things are going to change drastically, and the challenges, the competition that people are going to face into this domain. And when we are done with this, people will understand why we need that the space satellite station is $1 trillion industry that Africa needs to focus on and develop it. So they plan to deploy 60 more per launch. So a single rocket being sent into the space can carry 60 satellites in it. 60 good satellites. We talked about the size of the satellite. They are just as cube, just in the size of the hand. And there are nano satellites, there are micro satellites, and there are picosat satellites. So picosatellites.
But you have to let people know that satellite is something. It carries more like camera.
Yes.
And that is why it's needed, because people are just satellite. They think it's for war or for fighting. So it's important that people know that satellite is more like camera that is in the space and is allowing everybody to view whatever their interest is. So if they could launch satellite to monitor a city, they could launch satellite to be in charge of information, the quality of telephone lines, or the quality of television pictures, or they could launch satellite to increase or to monitor what is activities of criminals or bandits, or so it's like camera that allows us to see the world and the earth from the top, what we cannot see. I don't know if I'm right.
You're 100% correct. That is exactly the functionality. I was actually going to that, so I was just giving the challenge, the industry, the composition of it. Yes, so that is it. Satellite, they have different functionalities. There are different satellites that are used to survey natural catastrophe. They are like the one we're going to see now. It talks about surveying how desertification in Nigeria was one of the satellites that is strategically positioned to survey, to observe how desertification is progressing in Nigeria. So, as you said, they are equipped with high resolution camera that will be sending direct images. They'll be sending the audio signal, the television signals. Even right now as we're talking, me and DSA is a satellite that is connecting some of our network or the fiber optic cable that they are doing. So people are able to people don't know these things. That is satellite that is permitting these things. Satellite also permit us to have GPS that give us direction in our cars. The rockets, the bombs are sent to fly the sky. Your plane that you're carrying every day use satellites to be able to navigate. So without the satellite, everything will crumble. If you send a bomb, it won't even get to the destination that you want it. You send a rocket, it won't even go because it needs a satellite to be able to navigate properly. So even the planes that you London to Lagos, from Lagos to Dubai, anywhere you're going, they are all using satellite to be able to navigate. So without these things, nothing will be functioning. So we have to understand the importance of all these things. And people don't know that you can actually make money with satellite, that having built satellite, positioning them, you can actually make money. The DSTV you're watching, the South African DSTV, the African now, they are having, those people were able to send satellites so that you can be able to send signal to people that love football in Nigeria that are watching football. Those satellites have to be able to send information. They have to monitor. So I'll go further now to read more into it. So 60 launch per one single launch. And one thing that is very interesting about this SpaceX, one thing that is very interesting is that usually when a satellite is sent into the sky, the satellite now detached from the rocket and move further into the space. And then the rocket explodes in the sky because it to come back to Earth and land on somebody's house or somebody's head. So usually it explodes, and that is like wasting of millions of dollars.
Billions sometimes.
Yes, billions. Yes. So this SpaceX company, they have developed a rocket, a launcher, a carrier, a shuttle vehicle that can be able to take the satellite to the space, detach itself, allow the satellite to continue, and the rocket will come down and land. And they will reuse the rocket to send another set of satellite again. So that is the revolution that SpaceX, and is led by one single individual, which is Elon Musk. That is a revolution that no any other industry or company have that ability to do it. So now US alone has 900 satellites. Remember, the total number of satellites are more than 2,000 right now in the space. They are more than 2,000. So like let's say like 2060, 2,000 them in the space. US alone has 901 satellite. So the plan now is to increase the number of this satellite. So this is by far the largest number of any single country. So they have like 38 civil satellites and 523 commercial satellites. That is government owned, and 164 military, and 176 for the military. That is their satellite. The military use 176 military.
No,
So China,
the commercial, the 500 commercial, they are not government owned.
no, yeah, they're not government. They are private.
They are private.
Yes. So China is the second country with the largest number of satellites, accounting for like only 299 satellites. So you can imagine US having 901. China, that is the second largest, having 299. They tried at least.
No, but look at SpaceX, a company, one company alone. It's almost as big as China. Of the amount, it's having 100 and what? 152?
Yes. 100. Which of them?
SpaceX.
No, SpaceX just launched. Yes, they just launched 120, 122.
122. Yeah.
Just
so 122. And China is?
China is 299.
299. You see, one company alone almost catching up with China.
Yes. But do not rejoice yet. The Chinese have planned. They have planned to overtake the internet, the space station.
They even have planned to overtake America.
They have plans to overtake America. Right now, we only have one space station. The people that are watching us, there is a difference between independent satellites that are floating in the sky. They are geostationary satellites. That is the space station for a reason. Because it's a station where a single there are hundreds of satellites, and one satellite come to attach itself to remain in that station. So you send them more satellites, they attach themselves. So that station doesn't move. It's stationary.
But only about 5 countries have stations, though.
Yes, US alone control that station. So any country that's sending their satellite, the satellite coming to attach to that station.
US has a station, Russia has a station.
No, it's just a single station, just one single station that all countries coming to log in, to connect to that specific station. So it's only one single space station that we have currently right now. Just one. Yeah, and it was started by the Russians. It was started by the
Russians.
Russians.
What I meant.
Yes. So, but it's a connected. All the satellites are connected together. So maintenance, servicing, and all those things are connected together. So the US alone, we have seen the number of China has 299. So Russia is the third largest country with 153 satellites. And South Africa has 6 satellites, which they use to provide African communication and television service by MultiChoice, the corporation which owns DSTV, with the headquarters in Randburg, South Africa. It's also important to note that another satellite called Cinnabox was built by South African high school student. High school student built a satellite. So it's not a myth. It's not as if it's something extra out of magic, to need some kind of miracle. No, a school student can be able to sit down, get the component. Africa has enough resources to be able to get all these materials and to build them. So we have the country of Estonia. The country of Estonia has only one single satellite. And France, where I live right now, has 70 satellites.
70.
And then Israel.
70.
70. Yes, 70. And Israel has 19 satellites in the space. And Kenya, the country of Kenya, has 1 satellite. So you'll be asking yourself, what is that 1
Kenya
satellite?
also launched the satellite about a year or 2 ago, right? A year ago.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Rwanda has 2 satellites. They
Yeah.
just launched it.
Rwanda launched it, one this year, one 2 years ago. So yeah.
Yes. So what satellite, they provide internet service, the communication and all those things. So Morocco, the country of Morocco has 2 satellites. And the country of almighty Qatar, with their oil, they have only 1 satellite. And Nigeria has 5 satellites.
5.
So Nigeria is above Qatar, is above Morocco, is above Luxembourg, Kenya even. For Nigerians that are
Ghana has 1.
Ghana has 1. Ghana just has 1. And it's the first time they are sending satellite to the space in 2017. So Nigeria has sent their first satellite 2001 already in the space, and the program was initiated by General Olusegun Obasanjo. Right? In short, Nigeria, they already have funding already for the program since 1980 something. They already started all this funding. They raised up 30 something million, 38 million pounds, I think, for the initial program. So you actually have a body of space now currently in Nigeria. It's just that nobody knows about them. They are just there. They are watching, they are controlling all the network and everything.
And they are working, and so there are specialists that are working there throughout the clock.
So right now, what we're going to do is that we're going to look into all the active and the inactive Nigerian satellite. Because Nigeria, there was a time we lost some of our satellites.
The one that was built in China.
Exactly.
Because I know that Ukraine also helped Nigeria to launch 1 satellite.
Yes. And it was successful.
Yes.
So we're going to look into the active and the inactive Nigerian satellite, where they are located, what types of satellite we have. Are they low or high orbiting satellite? How much it costs to fabricate them? So that is what we're going to look into now next. So who operate and manage the Nigerian satellite? This is the question that people need to understand. Is it UK that is managing our satellite? Is it US? Is it Israel or some one of these predatory country? Or is it Nigeria that is managing our own satellite? So these are the kind of questions we're going to be addressing. So 5 satellites have been launched by the Nigerian government into outer space. Early plans to launch a national satellite began in 1976. That was the early plan that Nigeria started. Their plan 1976. But we are never. So NASA is the body of space body now of the Nigerian satellite, was established on 1st August 2001 after preparation period since in 1998 by Nigerian President Olusegun Obasanjo. The Nigerian government, with the primary objective of establishing a fundamental policy for the development of space, science, and technology, with an initial budget of $93 million. That is the initial budget they did. They set up this money to encourage research. They even sending students abroad to learn with the US, with Russia, with China. All the programs were all combined together. So the Nigeria SAT, that is the name of the first satellite. That is the name of the first Nigerian satellite. Was the first Nigerian satellite and built by United Kingdom-based satellite telecommunication. They call it Surrey Space Technology Limited, SSTL Ltd. Under the Nigerian government sponsor.
Because it was done in the city of Surrey, there in Surrey, in England.
Exactly, and Nigerian students participated in the construction. So, and $30 million was the initial budget. The satellite was launched by Cosmos 3M rocket from Russia.
From Russia.
Yes, from Russia. On the 27th of September 2003, that was the first launching of the Nigerian satellite. So the Nigerian sat was part of the worldwide disaster monitoring constellation. So this satellite is supposed to watch natural disaster, flood, irrigation, and all this to know if the ocean is going to when tornado or all this kind of natural disaster that are coming in. The satellite is supposed to watch the movement of the water and desertification and to study all this. So the primary objective of the Nigerian SAT give early warning signals of environmental disaster to help detect and control desertification in the northern part of Nigeria. Now, the second satellite, of course, is called NIGCOMSAT-1. That's the name. A Nigerian satellite ordered and built in China in 2004. Was Nigeria's second satellite and Africa's third communication satellite in 2004. Africa's third communication satellite. It was launched on 13 May 2007 aboard a Long March 3B carrier rocket from the Xingshan Satellite Launch Center in China. The spacecraft that was operated by NIGCOMSAT on 11 November 2019, NIGCOMSAT failed in orbit after running out of power due to cheap Chinese part like this. So the the Chinese people, they do all this cheap part, and that was at the satellite. But it didn't remain like that. Other satellites were sent into the space to replace it. The Nigerian government, sponsored by the Nigerian government. Solar array. It was based on the Chinese DFH-4 satellite bus and carry a variety of transporter, 4C band. Don't worry about all these jargons you're hearing about scientific and astrophysics jargons. I'm going to explain them in details in simple words so that people can be able to understand what we are dealing with here. So I'm talking about the second Nigerian satellite now. KU band 8. Yes. So it was designed to provide coverage to many parts of Africa and Ka band transporter. So now the third and the fourth satellite, they are called Nigeria Sat-2 and Nigeria Sat-X. That is the fourth satellite. Both of the fourth ones were launched at the same time.
Are we showing the right slide?
Go further.
Okay, not that period.
Next slide.
Is it this place?
Yes.
Okay.
No, the next slide.
Next slide.
Yes, perfect. Now that's where we are.
All right.
Yes. So, high resolution Earth satellite by SS Steel, the same survey that did the initial program for Nigeria. So DMC system also, it has 2 to 5 meter resolution, panchromatic, very high resolution 5 meter, multi-spectral high resolution NRI red, green, and red band. If we still talking about the signal that is sent and the camera that you talked about earlier on, medium resolution NRI, green and red band antenna. The Nigeria Sat-2 and Nigeria Sat-X, the spacecraft was built at the cost of 35 million pounds. That was the cost of the satellite that was used to build. This satellite was launched into orbit by Ukraine rocket. That's what I don't know how to pronounce it.
Dnepro.
Exactly. That's how it's pronounced. So Nigerians, if you're able to communicate on the phone today, or if you're able to use other technologies, crazy because of this satellite that are there. They provide this platform for you. So don't think you're just doing it out of nowhere. So this satellite was launched into orbit by Ukrainian Dnepr rocket from a Yasny military base. Yasny.
Yes.
Yasny military base in Russia on 17 August 2011. That was when it was launched. So on the 10th of November 2008, 9 GMT, the satellite was reportedly switched off for analysis and to avoid a possible collision with other satellites. So according to Nigerian Communication Satellite Limited, it was put into emergency mode in order to effect mitigation and repair. So that is when the satellite started having problems now. The satellite eventually failed after losing power on 11 November 2008. So now the next slide. On the 24th March 2009, the Nigerian Federal Ministry of Science and Technology, NIGCOMSAT Ltd, and CGW, that is another Chinese company, signed a further contract for the in-orbit delivery of the NIGCOMSAT 1R satellite. NIGCOMSAT 1R. So NIGCOMSAT 1R was also a DFH-4 satellite and is expected to be delivered in the fourth quarter of 2011. As a replacement for the NIGCOMSAT. Remember, I was just talking about the NIGCOMSAT 1 that was sent in by the Ukraine. So now that satellite was switched off. They tried to do some kind of management by the Nigerian Telecommunication Agency. They tried to manage it or something, an accident happened. So now they sent in. They had a connection with the Chinese. Now they sent in another November 19, 2011, a new Nigerian communication satellite was launched into orbit by China in Shenzhen. The satellite, according to Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan, that was when Goodluck was in power, will have a positive impact on national development in various sectors, such as communication, internet service, health, agriculture, environmental protection, and national security. So now, the next slide, please. The Nigeria Sat-1 is satellite of standard disaster monitoring constellation. Design, it has 100 kilogram mass and carrier on optical imagery payload. So we talked about the cameras. We have seen that Nigeria, they install cameras that will send in image and satellite that will send in direct information on natural disaster. So imagery payload developed by the SST, the same Surrey in UK, to provide 32 m ground resolution with an exceptionally wide swath with 640 kilometers. Like I said, one single satellite, usually low orbiting satellite, has the radius of 300 kilometers. They can only cover 300 kilometers area. So if you have a large country, we need more satellite to be able to cover all the radius. So but high orbiting satellite have the capacity of providing high radius. But the problem is that the information they're sending is very slow because of their distance, with the Earth. So the payload usage, green, red, and near infrared, equivalent to Landsat TM plus bands 2, 3, and 4 image are stored in 1 gigabyte. That's a 1 gigabyte. It's a little bit too small. Maybe we should need a kilobyte capacity for. Yeah. So solid state data, these are different recorder and return via an 8 M-byte and S-band downlink. Nine-side can image seen as large as 640x and 560 kilometers, provide unparalleled wide area, medium resolution data. The data will be used within Nigeria to monitor pollution, the gas emission of CO2 in the air. We will monitor pollution and other, and all those refinery that they refine crude oil and the kind of gas they flare those gas in the air. This satellite will be used to monitor the progress towards this pollution. Land use and other medium-scale phenomena launched on the 27th, 2003. So this is what we need to understand. That they have so many uses. There are satellites that monitored all these things. There are satellites that send it in. So Nigeria Sat-2 and Nigeria Sat-X with 300 kilogram mass, both of the satellite, each to replace Nigeria Sat-1, commenced November 2006, launched 17 August 2011. So these are already programmed. These were already paid. These are advanced. They are already advanced programs that have been there on the ground already. So NigerComSat-1 communication satellite provide rural internet access. Launched on the 13th May 2007 aboard a Chinese Long March 3B carrier rocket from the Xinshan Satellite Launch Center in China. The satellite was the second Nigerian satellite to be placed into orbit. On the 10th November 2011, the satellite was reportedly switched off because it lost both of its solar array. The satellite is a total loss. The satellite was owned and operated by Nigerian Communication Satellite Limited on SPV, incorporated as a state-owned enterprise, fully funded and owned by federal government of Nigeria. So now, that one that was failed, it was replaced now by 9ComSat-1R to replace the lost ComSat that was launched in 2007. So I don't know if this information are clear. It was launched by China on the 19th. Government of Nigeria, NigerComSat Limited, is currently being supervised by the newly created Ministry of Communication and Technology Regulated. So they call it by NCC. I don't know what NCC means, and NBC, National Broadcasting Commission. I think that's what NBC means. So where are the satellites located? This is where people are asking this question. They want to know where are the satellites located, because sometimes we can actually see satellite with our naked eyes. We don't need telescope or high resolution camera to see some of those satellites. So the satellite is not that beyond our naked eyes. They are just there for us to see. So where are the satellites located? This is a very simple question to answer. There's a general misconception, or rather lack of knowledge, as where the satellites are located. Some people actually satellites are beyond reach, but sometimes we can actually see them with our naked eyes directly in the sky. Most of the exceptionally shiny stationary or moving stars which we see in our night sky are mostly satellite. They are low orbiting satellite. For the sake of clarity, simplify this concept, here are some clues on how these things work in general. We have to begin by understanding the different geosphere of our Mother Earth. So I'm going to talk about how this thing work now. So what I call the first sphere is the hydrosphere. We know the word hydrosphere for the Greek word. Next slide, please. The Greek word for water, hydrosphere. So we have different spheres on Earth. Where human beings are now, is called the biosphere. So where this under the sea, the water is called the hydrosphere. So the hydrosphere, Greek word for water. So we have the hydrosphere housing all the aquatic and semi-aquatic, sometimes called the amphibian life. I'm talking about the shrimps, the oysters, the lobsters, the eel, the crabs, the sea turtle, the hippopotamus, the crocodiles, etc., etc. The point here is that the above mentioned animals have a perfect metabolism which allows them to make water their habitat, whereas we humans could barely survive any much longer with artificial help of oxygen on the water, whichever is the case. Even if we can endure to hold our breath for a very long time, our skin cannot endure to remain in the water beyond the expected limit. We might just turn into fish. So now I'm going to talk about the biosphere now. So I've talked about the first sphere, where the water, the hydrosphere, is the first sphere. Now the second sphere is what I call the biosphere. So this leads us to the second sphere, which I like to describe as the biosphere or the ecosphere. Both the first and the second sphere are interlinked in the general geosphere, but just for the sake of clarity, permit me to employ this to illustrate how these things work. Now, the biosphere is where you and I live, we humans breathe the air, where we do all the human activity like fighting and car racing and all those things. Then we have the atmosphere. So the hydrosphere, the biosphere, and the atmosphere. This is a very common word. Everybody knows what atmosphere means, but we don't know what is the element in the atmosphere. So with the atmosphere, where the eagle and the bird fly, when one began to move further into the atmosphere, the chemical element began to change. That's why we experience nausea or vertigo in high altitude area. Human could easily fly helicopters in the atmosphere without the help of any special oxygen equipment. The atmosphere comprised of special element. The atmosphere, which contains by volume, dry air contains 78% of dry air, of nitrogen, and 20% of oxygen, and 0.93% of argon, and 0.4% of carbon dioxide, and small amount of other gases which are perfectly in sync with the human metabolism. Now, beyond the atmosphere, that is what we need to know now. Beyond the atmosphere, this is where you even
So
get
now
to
that
see
you have
God.
started to study science, I hope your eyes will be much more open to see that this cannot be done without God. Everything
Exactly.
cannot function perfectly like that. The amount of elements and oxygen and hydrogen, everything there, just by accident by itself, it doesn't make sense. That is why the
It
Bible
does,
says that only somebody who is mad, who doesn't have sense, will say there is no God.
yes, the complexity. When you go into science, you will see how complex it is. It is everything is in sync.
The more I
The whole
study
system.
science, the more I know that, the more I believe in God. The more I know that it's not possible otherwise. The only explanation is God. I mean, not something without intelligence, super intelligence, cannot put all that together for it to be in sync. Or talk less of it by itself, just by itself. What is itself? Okay, go ahead.
All right, okay. So beyond the troposphere, which according to Wikipedia, the troposphere is the lowest layer of Earth atmosphere, and it's also where nearly all weather conditions take place. It contains 72% of the atmosphere masses, 72% of the mass, the density. Now, and then 90% of the total mass of water vapor, aerosol. So water, our cloud, the rain that we get are formed in the troposphere. So above the atmosphere, we have the troposphere. So it happened a lot of chemical process. Imagine a pool of water hanging in the air. That is what troposphere is. So beyond the atmosphere, another layer. So in this troposphere, there are different kinds of gas, different kinds of elements, where you have a lot of elements. So if you're there as human beings, you start having difficulty to breathe because it's not the same element, not the same gas that we have here that is helping us to breathe. And likewise, not the same element, not the same gas that you have under the water, not the same quantity. Everything has to be in balance to help the human body to function. If it's below, if the gas is you start having problem breathing. If it's above, you start having problem breathing. So everything has to be in
If it's
balance.
above, you
So
don't just
that
have problem breathing, you have problem even stationing yourself. You begin to float.
exactly, exactly, exactly. So, but after the troposphere, what do we have next?
On
After the troposphere,
yes, go ahead.
yes, the next slide. After the
Let me
troposphere,
just
we have
slide.
the stratosphere. We have the stratosphere, and the stratosphere is the composition of 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, 0.93% argon, and 0.4 carbon dioxide, and traces amount of neon, helium, methane, krypton, and hydrogen, as well as water vapor. That's also where most of our commercial airline fly. So if you want to understand, we have the atmosphere, we have the troposphere, and we have now the stratosphere. And the stratosphere is where the flight, all that we're carrying, the traveling, that's where they travel. They travel in that particular axis in the stratosphere, because there is less turbulence, and that is the reason. So all of you that you are carrying flight, whenever you are traveling, you should know that whenever your flight is in the air, that is where your flight is, in the stratosphere, the atmosphere, troposphere, and now the stratosphere.
And that is why airplanes always needed this artificial oxygen and in the
Oxygen.
plane. That's why it's induced, artificially induced for humans to survive in the plane.
So beyond the stratosphere, what do we have? Beyond the stratosphere, we have what is called the mesosphere. So you have now the atmosphere, the troposphere, the stratosphere, and now you have the mesosphere. So there are different layers with different oxygen, different gases that you see there, different level. Like you said, when it increases, you even have problem floating or walking. Your body even become lighter. So this is what we're going to see. So right now, so beyond where your plane fly in the stratosphere, the planes fly. All the planes you're seeing, they are flying in stratosphere. If you can stay here and see a plane in the sky, it's flying actually in the stratosphere. So it's not something beyond the all part of the layers of the earth that we have. So there is no wall or mountain at the top. They are just layers of oxygen, thick, that even block anything that will pass through
It's no
it.
more oxygen, it's gas.
Gas, exactly, that block anything that pass through it, that even regulate all the weight and everything that goes through it. So the mesosphere, where the cloud get formed, meteorite, for instance, without the mesosphere now, the meteorite that are flying in the sky, they can just come into the earth and just cause a lot of destruction. But because of the mesosphere, it happens that any meteorite or asteroid that is coming into the earth, it gets crushed there. The force, the density will not even permit it to penetrate. It will start, if it will even get born, even before it reaches into the ground. So, but the most interesting layers where most of the satellites are located. Now we just looked that we have the stratosphere, the thermos, we have the stratosphere. Now we just see the mesosphere. Now our satellites are located in where we call the thermosphere. That's where our satellites are located. So there are different spheres, the atmosphere. So you see our satellites are located there. So it's not as if they are outside, they are actually inside the earth. There you can stand and look at them in the sky. So that's where both the high and the low orbiting satellite are located. You see them there. Even our space station, the ISS, they call it, is there, located right there. You can stand, use a telescope and see it. So it's the International Space Station, which is just like 408 kilometers above the Earth. So beyond the thermosphere, where our satellites are located, is what is called the exosphere. We know what exosphere means. Exoskeleton, if you do your biology in the secondary school, you know what exoskeleton means. It means the outer skeleton. Outer. Exos means outside. So beyond the exosphere, we have what is known as the magnetosphere. Magnetosphere, which is the word should sound familiar to people. It's talking about magnetosphere. And beyond the magnetosphere, we have what is known as the ionosphere. The ion, it comes from the word ion, which means timeless. Timeless. So it's a vast open area where if you travel further, you meet the moon. You meet the moon standing there. So you can connect to other satellites, other galaxies,
That's already outer space.
that is already outer space. So reason why Nigeria need urgently develop its satellite space station. One of the first reasons. The next slide, please. For security reasons, number one reason, one and most important reason Nigeria needs to develop a satellite and space station is for security reasons. Not many people are aware that Israeli, because not all people are aware right now, because Nigeria, the entire continent of Africa has 32 satellites covering every area. And most of these few are owned by us. Like Nigeria now has 5 satellites, but there are others like that are giving coverage to Nigeria for internet and other stuff, and they are profiting. They are making money in Nigeria, and these people can actually manipulate the information. They can actually manipulate the. In short, they can even threaten to cut our internet connection. So we need an independent, we need more. Nigeria is too large for the 5 satellites that we have. Nigeria needs more satellites. If you ask me, I can say 60, 100, 500, 1,000, 2,000. So this is where Nigeria needs to expand beyond the territory. Nigeria needs to occupy the African satellite axis, because we have the talent, we have the people, we have the capacity, we have the money to sponsor some of these things. So Nigeria does not just need to supply its own satellite, it needs to dominate the African satellite, the installation. So we have the example of like Israel. I say not many people are aware that Israel actually took the responsibility to launch satellite into space to provide Africa with cheap internet and telecommunication service. Nobody asked them, nobody gave them money to do that. They did it themselves. You need to ask yourself, what are they trying to achieve by doing this? Because they know that there's money that comes with them, there's control. They can be able to control information that people see. So the satellite is called EMOS. They call it EMOS 17. They did all the financing, manufacturing, launching, and maintenance. At what cost? At the expense of profit making from African teaming.
The reason Israel did that is not for profit, but it's for security. The problem is that Israel wanted to make sure, because there are so many, Israel wanted to control, they have total control over the affairs of Muslim countries and countries that are friendly with Muslim countries. So that anything that Nigeria and other Muslim countries are talking and discussing regarding to Israel, Palestine, and the vote and the fight and all those things, Israel will have the information even before our president has it. And they will be able to take decisions without even us knowing that they already have decisions. So we think they are doing us good, but really, they are taking care of their security situation because they don't have internet, they don't have telecommunication company in Africa. But they are getting all the information from all telecommunication companies that are in Africa. All the telephone conversation, everything that's going on, they first of all get them. And we might not even have that access.
Yes, exactly. So it's for security reasons. You see, thank you, DSA, for putting more light into that. It's for security reasons. Number one, we do not want a country spying on us. We do not want an individual country collecting our information, getting our secret. No, we are vulnerable to that. Africa cannot be able to afford that. And the only country that is capable of taking care of this problem is Nigeria. And that is why we need to.
No, but South Africa has more than us now. They have more satellites than us.
Yes, they have 6 satellites.
They have 6 satellites. We have 5. But their own, they have 1 or 2 that are private, right?
Yes. The multi-choice on them.
Yes.
The communication and all those things. But we cannot depend on South Africa either, because South Africa is not an ally of Nigeria.
And they are not reliable.
Exactly. And the people that own those satellites are not even blacks. And right now, people don't even know that there are over 170,000 Jews in South Africa. A large community. So most of the satellite communication, they are owned by white people. And if they want to cooperate, they will cooperate with Israel anytime they want. So we need our own independent, our own sovereign power to dominate this station. We need to work on it. It's urgent. It's very urgent. And many people might be thinking, oh, Nigerian government need to do it. No. I will give you information on how a single individual can be able to change this industry. So in fact, not many people are aware that this is not the first time Israel have attempted to send satellite. They tried to monopolize the African space zone. In 2016, there was a massive explosion aboard SpaceX rocket that was trying to take another satellite to the space again. So Israeli satellite, this time for Africa space coverage, it's called EMOS 6. So we just saw EMOS 17, it was launched this year, August this year. That EMOS 6 but it exploded. So it was a total fiasco, everything crashed. Now the second reason is the commercial aspect of it. Why SpaceX? Starlinks. Africa needs to take advantage of our population and venture into the market of the space business. In short, the second reason, the first reason is security. The second reason is the money you make in this industry.
The reason why South Africa is the one controlling our MTN, DSTV is because they have the satellite. And they are the one raking in all the income, all the money from telecommunication, from television, from everything. Nigeria, there is something they call a program they do in Nigeria now. They call it, what they call this thing, where people are dressing naked. Big Brother, yeah. Big Brother. The reason why they are the one doing it is because they have the satellite.
Exactly. So, and they can be able to menace us, they can be able to even threaten us for cutting it off. So we need to dominate this industry. And how many people know that multi-choice, they made revenue 50 billion rand. That is the equivalent of 3.5 billion US dollars annually. By Nigerian subscription, people subscribe for their DSTV dishes to watch. So that's like 3.5 billion US dollars they are making on our body. So you can see that industry is lucrative. The moment we can be able to dominate it, it will provide jobs for a lot of people. So we talked about security, sovereignty. Now we talked about the commercial aspect of it. Now one single individual might be asking, okay, this sounds too hectic for one single individual. But I will tell you that there are people that are doing it. There are private companies that are doing it. All you need to do is the support of the government, the right policies. Elon Musk, which is the video I'm going to play, just 15-minute video. I hope we have enough time. It is going to narrate. They're going to explain to you what he did with the entire program, and then afterwards, TSA will conclude by telling us the kind of plan that will be on the ground and what we're going to do. The video now, please.
Okay, now we can do the video. So we'll put on the video, and after the video, we'll conclude on the program.
Yes, and the development you have.
And the plans that we have, right. Beautiful. Good effort. Good job. Okay, we can do the video now.
Now, Nigeria's space program is reputed to be among Africa's largest, with 3 satellites in orbit and an ambitious plan to send the first African astronaut into space by...
Engineering is brought to you by Brilliant, a problem-solving website that teaches you to think like an engineer. On the 24th of May, SpaceX launched a Falcon 9 rocket. This episode of Real Engineering is brought to you by Brilliant, a problem-solving website that teaches you to think like an engineer. On the 24th of May, SpaceX launched a Falcon 9 rocket filled with 60 satellites into space. This marked the beginning of their ambitious new project called Starlink, which aims to provide high-quality broadband internet to the most isolated parts of the planet, while also providing low-latency connectivity to already well-connected cities. SpaceX aimed to make their broadband as accessible as possible, claiming that anyone will be able to connect to their network if they buy the pizza box-sized antenna, which SpaceX is developing themselves. This launch of 60 satellites was just the first of many. SpaceX has 12,000 satellites planned for launch over the next decade, dramatically increasing the total amount of spacecraft around Earth's orbit. This will cost SpaceX billions of dollars, so they must have a good reason for doing so. Let's see how this network will work and how it will compete with existing internet providers. Back in 2015, Elon announced that SpaceX had begun working on a communication satellite network, stating that there is a significant unmet demand for low-cost global broadband capabilities. Around that time, SpaceX opened a new facility in Redmond, Washington, to develop and manufacture these new communication satellites. The initial plan was to launch 2 prototype satellites into orbit by 2016 and have the initial satellite constellation up and running by 2020. But the company struggled to develop a receiver that could be easily installed by the user for a low cost. This delayed the program, and the initial prototype satellites weren't launched until 2018. After a successful launch of the 2 prototypes, Tintin A and B, which allowed SpaceX to test and refine their satellite design, SpaceX kept pretty quiet about what was next for the Starlink project, until November 2018, when SpaceX received approval from the FCC to deploy 7,500 satellites into orbit. on top of the 4,400 that were already approved. On May 24th, the first batch of production satellites were launched into orbit, and people around the world quickly started to spot the train of satellites moving across the night sky. This launch is a sign of things to come. While this initial group of satellites are not fully functional, they will be used to test things like the Earth communication systems and the Krypton thrusters, which will be used to autonomously avoid debris and deorbit the spacecraft once it has reached the end of its life cycle. Let's look at these functionalities first. We have explored how ion thrusters work in the past, which you can watch for more detail, but essentially they use electric potential to fire ions out of the spacecraft to provide propulsion. Xenon is ideally used because it has a high atomic mass, allowing it to provide more kick per atom, while being inert and having a high storage density, lending itself to long-term storage on a spacecraft. However, SpaceX opted for Krypton, as Xenon's rarity makes it a far more expensive propellant. This ion thruster will initially be used to raise the Starlink satellites from their release orbits of 440 kilometers to their final orbital height of 550 kilometers. They will also be used in conjunction with the onboard control momentum gyroscopes located here, and the US government's space debris collision prediction system to allow the satellites to adjust their orbits to dodge collisions, which we have also spoken about in more detail in a previous video. When the satellites have reached the end of their service life, they can then use the same attitude controls and thrusters to deorbit the satellite. SpaceX have included all the necessary hardware to minimize space debris risk. In their Federal Communications Commission approval application, they claim that 95% of the satellite will burn up on re-entry, with only the ion thruster internal structure and silicon carbide components standing a chance of survival. Those silicon carbide components are likely to survive as they are essential materials for the operation of lasers and thus have an extremely high melting point of 2,750 degrees. Which brings us to our communications abilities, the primary function of the satellite. SpaceX have been tight-lipped on many of the details of the satellite, but thanks to the FCC filing, we know that the satellites will contain 5 1.5 kilogram silicon carbide components, which indicates that each satellite will contain 5 individual lasers. These lasers, like our fiber optic cables here on Earth, will use light pulses to transmit information between satellites. Transmitting with light in space offers one massive advantage over transmitting with light here on Earth, however. The speed of light is not constant in every material. In fact, light travels 47% slower in glass than in a vacuum. This offers Starlink one huge advantage that will likely be its primary money maker. It provides the potential for lower latency information over long distance. In simpler terms, let's imagine this as a race between data packets. A user in London wants the new adjusted price for a stock on the Nasdaq from the New York Stock Exchange. If this information were to use a typical route, let's say through the AC2 cable, which has a return journey of about 12,800 kilometers to make through our glass fiber optic cable, in a vacuum, light travels at a speed of 299,792,458 meters per second. The speed of travel in glass depends on the refractive index, and the refractive index depends on the wavelength, but we will take the reduction as 1.47 times slower than the speed of light in a vacuum. This means the data packet will take roughly 0.063 seconds to make the round trip, and thus has a latency of 0.063 seconds, or 62.7 milliseconds. With the additional steps that add to this latency, like the conversion of light signals to electrical signals on either end of the optical cable, traffic queues, and the transfer to our final computer terminal, this total time comes out at about 76 milliseconds. Figuring out the latency for Starlink is a lot more difficult, as we have no real-world measurements to go by, but we can make some educated guesses with the help of Mark Handley, a communications professor in University College London. The first source of latency for Starlink will be during the up and down link process, where we need to transfer our information to and from Earth. We know this will be done with phase array antennae, which are radio antennae which can control the direction of their transmission without moving parts. Instead, they use destructive and constructive interference to control the direction of the radio wave. Each satellite has a cone beam with an 81-degree range of view, With an orbit of 550 kilometers, each satellite can cover a circular area with a radius of 500 kilometers. At SpaceX's originally planned orbit, this coverage had a radius of 1,060 kilometers. Lowering the altitude of a satellite decreases the area it can cover, but also decreases the latency. This is particularly noticeable for typical communication satellites operating in geostationary orbit at an altitude of 36,000 kilometers. The time it takes data to travel up to the satellite and back down, traveling at the speed of light, is around 240 milliseconds, 369% slower than our subsea cable. However, since Starlink is intending to operate at a much lower altitude, the up and downlink theoretical latency could be as low as 3.6 milliseconds. This is why SpaceX needs so many satellites in their constellation in order to provide worldwide coverage. Each individual Starlink satellite has 4 phased array antennae located here, 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 and here. This directional beam was an essential part of SpaceX's FCC approval application, as thousands of satellites broadcasting undirected radio waves would cause significant amounts of interference with other communication methods. Once that data is received by one Starlink satellite, it can begin to transmit that information between satellites using lasers. Each time we hop from satellites, there will be a small delay as the laser light is converted to an electric signal and back again, but it is too minuscule to consider. Things get tricky here with using lasers, as we need to accurately hit the receiver on neighboring satellites to transmit that data. Let's look at SpaceX's proposed constellation to see how this will work. SpaceX's first phase of 1,584 satellites will occupy 24 orbital planes, with 66 satellites in each plane inclined at 53 degrees. This will look something like this. Communications between neighboring satellites in the same orbital plane is relatively simple, as these satellites will remain in relatively stable positions in relation to each other. This gives us a solid line of communication along a single orbital plane, but in many cases, a single orbital plane will not connect two locations. So we need to be able to transfer information between these planes too. This requires precise tracking, as the satellites traveling in neighboring orbital planes are traveling incredibly quickly and will come in and out of view. This means the Starlink satellite will need to switch to a new satellite in the network. This can take time. The best figure I could find is about a minute for the European Space Agency's Data Relay Satellite System, which is a currently operating geostationary internet constellation designed to serve European imaging satellites and other time-critical applications, such as serving emergency forces in remote areas like those fighting forest fires. Starlink may be faster, but it won't be instantaneous, and thus it has 5 optical communication systems on board to maintain a steady connection to 4 satellites at all times. If we now use this system transmitting from New York to London and back with the shortest path possible, using the speed of light in a vacuum as our transfer speed, we can achieve a latency as low as 43 milliseconds. Even if we took the shortest route possible with an optic fiber, which does not exist, this would take about 55 milliseconds, a 28% decrease in speed. The actual current return trip time for your average Joe is about 76 milliseconds, as we saw earlier, a 77% decrease in speed. This is a huge deal for the two financial markets working out of these cities. With millions of dollars being moved in fractions of a second, having a lower latency would provide a massive advantage in capitalizing on price swings. In fact, it wouldn't be the first time a communications company has made a massive investment to specifically serve these groups. The Hibernian Express cable is a privately owned optic cable that is currently the lowest latency connection between the NY4 data center in Syracuse, New Jersey and the LD4 data center in Slough, England at just 59.95 milliseconds, 39.4% slower than our best time with Starlink. The previous best time was held by the AC1 cable at 65 milliseconds. At a cost of $300 million, this 5 millisecond increase in speed was justified to just connect across the Atlantic. Imagine how much these time-sensitive industries will be willing to pay for a 17 millisecond increase in speed. It becomes even more valuable when you realize this time differential increases with increased transmission distance. New York to London is a relatively short distance. The improvements would be even more pronounced for a London to Singapore transmission. For every additional kilometre we travel, the potential gains in speed increase rapidly. But SpaceX aren't just planning on serving this super fast internet to some customers. They primarily advertise this system as a way to connect every human on this planet to the internet, and they should have plenty of bandwidth left over to serve these people. Although the internet has been one of the fastest growing technologies in human history, by the end of 2019, more than half the world's population will still be offline. Users will connect to this internet using a Starlink terminal, which will cost around $200 each. This will still be far outside the purchasing power of many third world citizens, but it's a start, and vastly cheaper than similar currently available receivers like the Chimera version at a price of $30,000. Elon Musk says that these will be flat enough to fit onto the roof of a car and other vehicles like ships and aeroplanes. This will allow Starlink to compete with traditional internet providers. It's estimated that moving the US from a 4G to a 5G wireless connection will cost around $150 billion in fiber optic cabling alone over the next 7 years. SpaceX plan to complete their entire Starlink project for as little as $10 billion. Each Starlink satellite cost around $300,000, which is already a massive cut in cost for communication satellites. SpaceX are also saving on launch costs as they are launching on their own Falcon 9 rockets, something no other satellite manufacturer has. If everything goes to plan, Starlink is estimated to generate $30 billion to $50 billion in revenue each year on the back of premium stock exchange memberships, demolishing their current annual revenue of around $3 billion. And this is a vital part of Elon Musk's long-term goals. The money generated from Starlink will mean SpaceX will have vastly more funding than NASA, which could go on to fund research and development of new rockets and the technologies needed to monetize lunar and Martian colonies. For now, the project is simply aiming to connect the world even more and potentially open avenues for education for third world countries that do not have adequate connections to the internet. Widely available internet will help solve this problem, and platforms like Brilliant have taken great steps to remedy this through their high-quality interactive math and science learning courses. Brilliant has helped thousands of users realize their potential in math and science, and it's stories like this why I am proud to promote Brilliant every month. They have a huge number of courses that will allow you to educate yourself, from foundational math courses to courses tailored for you to ace the American mathematics competition, with others geared for computer science and physics. Brilliant recently introduced a new feature called Daily Challenges, which will present you with interesting scientific and mathematical problems to test your brain every day. If I have inspired you and you want to educate yourself, then go to brilliant.org/real-engineering and sign up for free. And the first 500 people to go to that link will get 20% off the annual premium subscription, so you can get full access to all their courses as well as their entire Daily Challenges archive. As always, thanks for watching, and thank you to all my Patreon supporters.
What do you say?
Yes, that is it. The $1 trillion industry. Multi-choice are making $3.5 billion right now on our head, and the market is going to expand, and a lot of people are coming in. So this is an opportunity. I talked about managerial skills, because most people have the expertise for science, but they don't know how to market their expertise. And that is where your knowledge is important, because you have the knowledge of managing people, managing experts, managing people that are gifted, that has talent, and help them to understand how they can use that talent to help the world. And we need to develop this if we must be able to gain our respect as Black people around the world. Because today we are not respected because we haven't achieved anything for us. Even though there are a lot of achievement, but we need to do something remarkable. I would like to remind our viewers that by 1990, around 1980 to 1989, the Chinese people wanted to venture with the US into space exploration. The US refused to share the information with them. They refused them. They went and joined the Russians, and now they have surpassed US in the whole thing with 5G technology right now. So we as a nation, we can make it. They used to be hated by the US people. There is racism, but right now the world is forced. the spies, the world is forced to respect them because they have commanded innovation through their personal. Now the world can only see China and marvel at them. So we can only achieve our respect through sadly, that's how the world functions. If you don't have anything to show, nobody will respect you. The strong prey on the weak. So you have to make sure that you protect your communication. You have to make sure that you protect through, if it means developing nuclear bombs, to protect your integrity as a nation. Like I spoke earlier, I said that a sovereign nation has three things: the water, the sky, the water, the land, and the sky border. You have to dominate these three domains. If one is missing, you're vulnerable. You can be attacked from the space, you can be attacked. Flight can go into your area, your country, anyhow they want, without you doing what to do. You can be attacked through the naval process. So you have to make sure that sovereign, any country that doesn't have this power to dominate this domain, the useless country, that country is not sovereign. Right?
Thank you so very much. This is very interesting, and I'm very excited that we are discussing on this level. One of my vision and burden for Nigeria is that we will become technologically independent, and also that we will develop our science and engineering capabilities. We have to start with the minimum, or we have to do everything parallel. We have to get to a place whereby we build our roads, we build our infrastructure, we have our engineers build our bridges, our railroads, our airports. We have to start putting all that to practice. We have to make sure that, for example, no university in Nigeria is complaining of not having electricity. At the same time, that same university is producing graduates in science, producing graduates in engineering, producing electrical engineers in the thousands, and that same university is in darkness and complaining that there is no electricity. Whereby so why are you producing engineers? And so we have to make sure that nobody is complaining about bad roads. Why should we have bad roads or not have roads when we have people producing civil engineers? We have people producing mechanical engineers and all kind of engineers. If we are producing all these engineers, why is it that you cannot have roads? Why is it that you cannot have anything at all? So I dream of a time whereby we will have the independent and develop technological independence to the extent that students themselves, they are practical. They talk about practicals. Their practicals and their housemanship will be to go and build a road, to go and build a bridge, to go and build an airport, to go and build railway stations, to go and build railway tracks, to go and build satellite stations, to go and build space satellites, things like this. So these are the things that every student is supposed to be. If there are students in these areas of satellite, that is the thing they should be using as their exams. If you cannot build a satellite, you cannot pass. If you cannot build a nuclear station, you cannot pass. If you cannot build an atomic station, you cannot pass. If you cannot build a city, you cannot pass. If you cannot build bridges, and those are the kind of things we are saying. But from my own side, since I'm not in the government and since I'm not, a decision maker, I can only suggest and put the suggestion out there. But from my own side, when I get to Nigeria, we want to put Nigeria on the front burner. I want to make Nigeria a leading country in the world. For that to happen, we've got to fix infrastructure. And when we talk about infrastructure, I'm not just talking about roads and electricity, and I'm talking more than that. So let me talk about because this thing you are talking about now, I'm looking at it as criteria and credentials of what a country must have to even say. So when we are talking about infrastructure, I'm talking about infrastructure on the sea, I'm talking of infrastructure on the land, I'm talking of infrastructure in the space. So the infrastructure that we need includes satellite. And satellite will give us the atmospheric infrastructure that we need for further development. So the area of infrastructure, when I talk about infrastructure, I'm talking about infrastructure on those three levels. Under beneath, above, and here on the ground. So I have a plan already and some programs that we have already developed. There was a time I've already spoken about the backbone infrastructure that we are going to build all over Nigeria for autobahn, express, and interlocking networks and all those kind of things. But also, we should have strategic routing infrastructure. And for us to have strategic routing infrastructure, that deals with our security. To have strategic routing infrastructure, we need satellite. And that's why we must have a space station. So I and my team, we planned, and we already have this in plan. I'm looking at my plan right now, that we plan to put, apart from strategic routing, we also plan to have strategic storage for the future of Nigeria. And that will also require us to have satellite that will just be in charge of agriculture and in charge of productivity of our country. So these are some of the things that we are working on, and that will be need. Then we will need also regional tributary infrastructure. So every region we have to build infrastructure for every region so that they will be independent, and even if anything happens in the center or anywhere, our country will still function. Of course, we need infrastructure for municipal and municipal, city, and community infrastructure, which we need infrastructure. We need satellite that will be able to provide. That is like the rural area. In Europe, they already have that in developed countries. So we need infrastructure. We need satellite that will take care of the municipal needs, community, and rural area. That way, nobody is complaining. It's not like in Germany and most of Europe. Anywhere you go to, in village, no difference. Village, town, everywhere is covered by the satellite. And that's why they have the same level of speed of communication and internet and fiber optic, the same as in the city, because they have been covered by the satellites that are over there. So the same thing we will do. So let me talk about another area of infrastructure that we are working with and we have already designed, and that we will need. That what I was trying to talk about. So we are thinking of transport channel for country resources, and this will include water transport channels. This will include air transport channels, so that we'll have enough, and that will need. That also will make us to need satellite. So all these things, there are things that we have in designs, and some of the things we are thinking about, and they are not expensive to put those. Because with $1 billion, we'll be able to put up satellites up to 10.
Yeah, even more than that.
Even more than that. So by the time we put 10...
$50 million for single launch. Yes.
So for all these things, if we have a different satellite, just to take care of all our infrastructural needs, we'll be good. So that is my first concern. We need fundamental movement, revolutionary drive, to be able to, because when people in Nigeria right now talk about infrastructure, they are talking about just building road or just repairing road. I'm thinking of holistic, and I want us to be able to put those kind of infrastructure in a way that it will be there to serve us for the next 50 years. The same thing with satellite. If we'll be able to station it up and have servicing center for it, they could serve us for 70 years, for 100 years. So we will need to take care of routing junctions for country resources. We will need to take care of storage for up and downstream. We will need to take care of downstream distribution network. We will need to take care of cities, towns, community, villages, everything. And for all these things, we will even need to take care of ecology, trees, forests, and deforestation. And we will need satellite for all these things. All those herdsmen situation, we could resolve them through satellite. All those crises, their complaints, these people are coming to our farm, they are killing us, all those things could be resolved. So these are the things we are working on right now. And yeah, and I hope that by the grace of God, we will find what we would like to do is actually to be able to have our own, like you said, satellite space station, whereby experts are brought in from different countries, and all our people that have been educated are brought home to just man that station. And if one man, like you said, Elon Musk, if he could do as much, Nigeria as a country should be able to do at least the little we need to take our country to a new level. And I hope that somebody will see this, who will find it interesting, and would like to discuss further. And we are open. I'm open for discussion and to see how we could move Nigeria forward. We need as many Nigerian indigenous experts, as many as possible.
Wow, wow. Like I said earlier, you can be able to set up a platform like this to have people with all the expertise, all the smart engineers, and manage them. So be wary and say, oh, we have to wait for the government to come and do all these things. No, a single individual can lead this revolution, all those things. And I'm happy. The moment I started following, I don't miss this program when you come out live to discuss about the Nigerian Development Program, because that is one thing that has been eating me. And I kept thinking every day. Like you said, the whole system is water, land, and sky. Yes. And everything needs to be put together. And I like the idea of the regional independent power that you talked about. Yeah. Because if we have a central system, the whole system can collapse. But if it's regional, if the northern side have their own power supply or their own water supply, it's independent. Yeah. If the other region have their own water supply and light supply, it will be independent. They all connected to the center like that. Yes. I like that. That is a very perfect idea.
Yeah, and the management of catastrophic management as well, and disaster management. So when I spoke about the underwater infrastructure, let me talk about what that will deal with. It will deal with things like erosion, and it will deal with abatement landscape designs. It will also deal with flood water spillways. It will deal with dams, with hydroelectrics. It will deal with canals, with interlocks, excavated containment lakes, solar-driven upstream canal pumps. All those things will be. But right now, who is thinking about them? People are just living by the grace of God.
Nobody. We're waiting to go to heaven to enjoy these things.
Some people actually are saying that this is a waste of money. That other video that they were showing, I'm the one who said they should get it ready. But this was about 10 or 20 years ago when we just started the satellite development project in Nigeria. Some people were criticizing it and saying that people cannot eat food. Why should we do satellite? They don't know satellite will help them produce better food. But let's see the video, and before we go, we'll discuss it.
Okay.
Now, Nigeria's space program is reputed to be among Africa's largest, with 3 satellites in orbit and an ambitious plan to send the first African astronaut into space by 2015. Critics say space dreams are a waste of money in a country racked by poverty, insecurity, and environmental disasters. Heather Maddock reports from Abuja.
The Nigerian Space Agency complex is as ambitious and seemingly as impossible as the program itself. On these 200 hectares of land, a museum and a planetarium are being built, along with a complex for visiting scientists. But not all of these projects are funded, and very little construction appears to be going on. Inside the main building, everything is tinted green from the glass ceiling, and it feels a bit like another planet. With statues of rockets and satellites decorating the lobby, it is easy to see why officials here are so excited. The agency is in touch with its 3 satellites in orbit, including Nigeria Sat-X, launched in 2011. Spencer Una, the Center for the Satellite Technology Development Director, says they are particularly proud of that satellite built in Surrey, Britain.
Nigeria Sat-X was completely designed and manufactured using the Surrey satellite technology equipment by Nigerian engineers and scientists.
But in a country plagued by abject poverty, some Nigerians question if space travel is a luxury they can afford. Yes, says National Space Research and Development Agency spokesperson Felix Ale. He argues satellite imagery is key for national development.
The Earth observation satellites, have really assisted in a lot of application areas. So it has been used, in the area of disaster monitoring, in the area of agriculture.
Nigeria has another goal, to send an astronaut into space by 2015. However, they haven't started training anyone yet. But as far-fetched as it sounds, Ale says space programs are all about big dreams.
I want to tell the world that the Nigerian space program is a success story. It's a new song, to sing about this country. And it's again, a reaffirmation that things can work in this part of the globe. We have the commitment, we have the zeal.
Officials say an African astronaut in space will encourage health research on diseases that have a large impact on the continent, like malaria and sickle cell anemia. And while some of their current projects are on hold for lack of funding, by 2028, they say, they hope to have made-in-Nigeria satellites orbiting the Earth. Heather Murdoch for VOA News, Abuja.
Unfortunate, I don't think we have sent an astronaut to the space yet. Sorry?
Scam about it. Huh? There was a scam about it.
What happened?
Of a Nigerian astronaut that got lost in the space.
But that was just a news,
yes.
Fake news thing. Yeah.
You haven't yet.
Yeah. But it was during the time of Obasanjo that Nigeria was really serious about this thing. But after Obasanjo left, everybody they just took it easy, and it's a pity. If Obasanjo had still been in power, we would have been able to send that astronaut there. And also, because by 2019, by this year, they said they wanted to build their own satellite, made in Nigeria, built in Nigerian satellite. But the guy left and everything, Yar'Adua came, he was sick, then Jonathan is a sleepy president, and these ones are just too distracted. So, yeah, it's a pity that the work has not been going at the rate. But don't worry, we are coming by the grace of God.
Yes.
So thank you so much. Yeah, what do you want to say?
No, I just wanted to thank you because, like we said, our government are not consistent. They just come in and they go. And once they are gone, their vision is gone with them. So we need an independent private sector to lead this revolution. That I think because the Nigerian government system now wouldn't permit that. Some people come, they have the ambition, they have different things that bring them into power. So we need a private sector to lead this revolution. And you asked me a question earlier on. I want to encourage people that are watching not to give up on Nigeria. There are a lot of huge, mighty, like you spoke about this water system. There's a lady, MAGAJI, they see me right now, with one of the largest offshore drilling company, oil company right now. Apart from that, they have huge, massive storage that are growing now. People that want to know, MAGAJI, they see me, you should type in Lagos right now. They call it Ladol, that's a company, and search for more information. So don't give up on Nigeria, and DSA is coming. Me, I have 100% hope in you. I've seen you in action. I know the kind of spirit you carry. I just feel it. I know it. So I know.
Maybe some people would like to also join us and contribute to our discussion. Who knows? So if anybody is interested in contribution to our discussion and you want to call into the program, why not? So anybody that wants to call into the program, go to Facebook Messenger. Go to Facebook Messenger. When you get to Facebook Messenger, look for Move Agents. Move Agents, one word. Move Agents Matic, right? Move Agents. When you get there, just send us an SMS message, a message that you want to call or you want to contribute. So people normally write, people who are new write to my own Facebook page. It's not my Facebook page. Go write to Move Agents and send a message that you want to call through Facebook Messenger, and we'll hear what you have to say about this.
So, here's a question, please.
Yes, please.
What is your plan? What is your plan for 5G development? Because that is the new that is the new, it's interlinked with this satellite program now, because the satellite that have been sent, usually all the internet that we have, there are fiber optic cables underground the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, that are connecting countries. But right now, this 5G, there won't be any need for any cables anymore. All you need to do, you have a little box in your house, and the thing will be getting signal directly from the satellite, and to cover huge places, or a box in on top of the house like that.
Yeah, you have many of those boxes. You will need several boxes in strategic places, yes, for the 5G.
What is the plan for Nigeria?
Yeah, but I am so excited about the new director for communication and technology that we have in Nigeria. You know, I can't remember his name right now, but I am really very proud of him. I want to encourage people to go and research him. He believes that Nigeria is, Nigeria has missed out in the Industrial Revolution. We missed out in the Industrial Revolution. We also missed out even in the technological revolution, and even electronic revolution we missed out in it. And now it's information revolution, and we are also behind. The only chance for us to catch up is to jump ahead with this 5G revolution. If we could jump ahead in 5G revolution and be one of the first countries to launch it, then we might stand a good chance to catch up with the world. This is another chance for us to lead, and I think we got the right guy in charge of it. We got the right guy. Let me even see what his name. Give me my iPad. Let me see what his name is. Let me see what the name of this guy. I'm really proud of the guy. I listened to him a few times. I like his thoughts. I like his. There are not too many Nigerians are thinking ahead like that. Let me see if I could get him. Yeah, I think it's Nigeria Communication Commission, they call it. Nigerian Communication
Commission.
And yes, who is the director? I'm trying to find out the director's name now. But he is a guy that I really like his thoughts. And normally I find him easier. Okay. Yeah, anyway. So I really have hope for this guy. I think, of course, maybe he might need political will or support from the government. But, the fact that we have somebody at least thinking in the right direction in that area, what I think we should do is to help them to come up with, with some, be able to get some financial support for them, and be able to make sure that the Nigerians in diaspora, they support these kind of guys. And yeah, I can't find him right now, I'm sorry, but...
Yes, there is a point you made.
Yes.
There is a point you made about infrastructure. You kept making emphasis to that, and I think it's very important.
Yes.
Emphasis, because you spoke about university not having enough electricity or
yes.
not be able to do anything. I think those physical infrastructure are good enough incentive, because you cannot study under heat and then there's no good road. We cannot do a lot of things with that physical infrastructure. And I think that infrastructure is the key, the backbone for all this. Because I keep telling I asked my friend who was studying mass communication in Nigeria, I say our educational system is backward. They should be teaching in mass school. They should be teaching you how to blog, how to use blog. They should be teaching you how to use Facebook. That is what they should do. Because people are advancing, but our system of education is an analog system.
Yeah. Do we have?
So people.
I think we have a caller. Hello.
Do you out there?
Hello.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear now.
Yes, this is David Singh calling from Georgia.
Wow, long time.
Yes, sir. How are you doing, sir?
I'm very well. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
Yes, nice to hear your voice. These are the areas of your interest, isn't it?
I know, right?
Yeah. What do you have to say to this conversation?
Yeah, first of all, let me say thank you for what you are doing, and at the same time, I want to appreciate MAGAJI,
Yes.
To the limelight of conversation. It's very interesting actually to have this side of nation building come up. So a lot of people just think is all about the political perspective that actually drives nation building. They quickly forget that there are many more intricacies involved in national development.
Yes.
Way from partisanship or whatsoever it is that may be the undertone of political variations. So what I would like to say, in this video is that just like Innocent said, the inability for most leaders in Nigeria, as well as extension Africa, to actually connect their vision to their predecessors' vision and harness all these put together is a very serious problem.
Yeah.
It's a very serious problem, and that is why, and we have said it several times, that a lot of times the pattern of nation building in Africa, it draws back national development. So people just come there, they do the good ones, do cosmetic development, they walk away. The bad guys, they show themselves that okay, they are not even doing anything, and they don't even care. So in this wise, to make these things happen, the national development in the area of satellites and telecoms, these things really have to do with deliberate actions. These guys have to be intentional in national development. A lot of those individuals out there in other nations who are making these things happen, their systems have been designed to accommodate drives like this towards nation building. And they are not just building the nation for themselves, they are building their own nations to compete with the rest of the world. So I don't think in Africa, I don't think we are even thinking of competing among ourselves as nations, let alone competing with the rest of the world. So we seem to be on the consuming side of every other thing produced across the globe. So, and that is another story for another day. So, but on this one, I don't know how it's going to be incorporated into national development for these, series of leaders coming up back and forth here and there. So, but it is a serious thing. And just like you said about the chairman, the current leader of
NCC, yeah.
So like
he has become the minister actually.
So that's the CEO of NCC.
Yes.
So the man is doing a lot of work. He's really trying, and alongside the guy that is currently the chairman of the board of commissioners for NCC. That's Senator Olabiyi Durojaye. So these guys are They are trying their best, but the truth is they can't do more than possible to take us to the next phase and compete globally, because the system is not accommodating, innovations. The system is let's say, for example, if you roll out funds to those guys, what do you think will happen? Some people will still be in the middle of the way. We take some of those funds away.
Yeah.
And if, all these practices in the system, they actually debar the progress in these various areas. We are lagging behind in all ramifications. So many things going on. Even today alone, just 2 state elections cannot be conducted successfully without violence. So these things have to be looked into. These are areas of national development that need further details, that need serious, deliberate attention, including intentional funds pumped into these areas in order to put us up there on the podium of global leadership. Otherwise, we are just joking. That's what I want to say for now. But thank you all for your contribution and for this strong drive towards national development. And we do appreciate you guys, and just keep doing what you're doing. Thank you so much.
Beautiful, beautiful, very, very good. Thank you so much. Okay, so what do you say to that, Innocent?
I didn't hear clearly what he said.
Oh, you didn't hear him. Oh, okay. He's very. Anyway, you were saying something before he called in. Are you saying something before he called?
I cannot remember precisely what I was talking about.
Okay.
What was the point he made? It seems as if he's
supporting what we are saying, yeah, because it is not just we don't just need politics. We pay too much attention to politics in Nigeria, and because of that, we lose out and miss out on this area of communication. I mean, of development. But that this area of development actually sometimes is even more important than just politics. So the problem is that we are not paying too much attention to this, and that we need to. Yeah, I think he mentioned the name of the minister actually, Umar Garba Dambata. Well, he is the guy that I really like. Huh?
Yeah, yes, I heard about him.
Yeah, he's a professor, and he has big plans for 5G technology in Nigeria. I don't know if I could find his video and so that we could hear what he's talking about. He's actually not the chairman that I need. He's the minister. He's this Professor Umar Gabadambata. He's really a great blessing to Nigeria right now, and Nigeria has to take him serious, and I think he's the one. But anybody could, and then Doro Jaye that they are talking about, the chairman. Those guys are serious guys. So, but I would like to work with them and try to launch Nigeria. And one of the things that Davidson said is that we have to be able to compete with other countries, and be able to be on the same level and at par with them, not just barely surviving. But we have to do these things as good as any other country are doing them.
Yes.
So what? Do we have any callers still? So yeah. So this is and he was very excited that we are having this kind of conversation, not just politics, but technological conversation on technological progress and a scientific breakthrough for our country. And 5G, I'm really excited about 5G. A lot of people are against 5G, even Christians. A lot of Christians are against 5G, believers. But I know I'm used to that, because Christians, believers, are always against anything progressive. They are always religion, not just believers, but religion is always against anything progressive. So I am not even going to waste my energy about those ones. People are saying we don't need the 5G, it's going to kill people. I've heard that story before. Plane is going to kill people, electricity is going to kill people, this one is going to kill people, car is going to kill people. But now, if not because of those things, we will not be where we are. We have a caller. Hello?
Hello, good evening, sir.
Hello?
Hello, good evening.
You need to speak into your device and louder, please. We can't hear you.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Is that Israel Good News Balogun or what?
Yes, sir.
Oh, then speak louder. Let's hear you. All the way from Nigeria. Okay. So you did hear about satellite and space station in Nigeria?
Me, I'm just hearing it for the first time.
So you don't even know Nigeria has five satellites in space.
I don't know, to be candid.
You are one of the progressives in the land.
I don't know, to be candid.
Yeah.
I don't know, honestly, because when I also say that maybe something we are not looking for, we can't find it.
Yes.
Because
we are too preoccupied with bread and butter.
Yes,
Survivor.
So something we are not.
Just speak louder into your device, please. Otherwise, you go speak, but no people no go they hear.
Okay, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, each time you say, "Can you hear me?" it's always loud. Then you go back to your normal regime.
Okay, I am saying, what you are looking for is what you found. I have not taken time to even ask what is their satellite, Nigeria has satellite or not. And then maybe because I have not seen any reason why I need the information. But coming to hear this from this program this evening, I think I come to understand that there are many things that Nigeria has achieved that we are even assuming that Nigeria is not doing them. Until one is taking time before you condemn or destroy the country, you should take time to find out your details and your informations before you start thinking. And also I think as Mr. MAGAJI have said, this is an opportunity for many people who are interested in investing into this into this kind of field of business. Fighting over land, people already exploiting the space. Nigeria is still going to court. I mean, having a money let out to go and kill you over land, while some people are already thinking about how to take business to the space. So I am so glad to hear this evening and to learn that things that Nigeria has that I don't even know. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for calling, and thank you for your candidness. Thank you so much for your open truth. Yes, God gave us the permission, and He gave us actually the not just permission, what they call it, the command to dominate the sea, to dominate the land, and to dominate the air. God gave us that dominance. But so it is lack of foresight that makes us to just fight for land and just focus on things that are before our nose. But the essence of education is to be able to explore all these things. And those are also the essence of wealth. That is the source of, provision. While we are still thinking about exploring oil and things like that, there is space and there is, much more to explore over there. Yeah, so I think we are done for today. If you want to say anything before we go, please, yeah.
Nothing more, nothing to add. Thank you so much for the opportunity, for the strength. You are a blessing to Africa. I don't know, a lot of people need to acknowledge this. You are a blessing as it is right now, because you are like a pillar that is about to raise a lot of God. Because of you, this conversation is starting, because of you have the power. God placed you strategically to be able to lead this movement, lead this revolution. And that's why we need to protect you with our life, so that we can see this thing into the future. A lot of people have this energy to do it. They are demoralized with the whole situation. But I've never seen you for once despair or giving up on Nigeria. You always speak positive. You always talk about how Nigeria will change. And I always believe you. I've always seen that. I always knew deep down in my heart that country is blessed. Is blessed beyond any imagination. The only thing we need to do is just tap into it. Anything, look at Nollywood, look at the way they are changing now. Their movies are even more quality because they are learning. The music industry is dominating the entire continent of Africa. If you count up to 5, 6 Afrobeat stars, they are Nigerians. No any other country is doing that, only Nigerians. They can copy any country. They'll copy South African style. They'll copy. They're even singing in Swahili. They'll copy any country. They'll pick any music, transform it, and make it lively to the world. So that country is full of talent. It's full of talent. People don't give up here. Thank you so much, DSA, for.
And I want to acknowledge you that you are not one of those people who speak down on Nigeria and who speak negative on Nigeria. I am not. I like criticism. I can criticize the country, the government, but not to the level of debasing the government or the nation. You know, when you are criticizing, let it be constructive criticism. But when criticism is to tear the country down, to tear the people apart, to put everything down, to destroy everything, I am not in that category of people. I want to criticize and see what we can do and how we can go forward and show the way out. You know, that is the kind of activism and criticism that I support. So when people begin to speak...
That is what I learned from you.
Yeah. When
that is what I learned from you.
Yes, go ahead, please.
No, go.
Go ahead.
No, I said that is what I learned from you. There was an incident I remember. It was a conversation you had with Eroms Egbe here. I've forgotten his name.
Yes.
He's a very smart to bring him down, but I noticed that you need much, apart from smartness, you need much emotional intelligence to be able to handle certain stuff. So you cannot go around and criticize. Like Buhari government, I'm not a big fan of Buhari, but there are certain stuff he does that are very positive, and I clap hand and make it loud. I saw the video you made about the speech he gave in the UN, and I knew what you were talking about because not many Nigerians will know it. I knew about the Marshall Plan they executed in Europe, and I saw the effect. So you spoke about the speech of it was one of the most. You made a comment. You said you don't know if it was Buhari that wrote it himself or his his secretary that wrote that speech, but whoever wrote it has a very long vision. When you were speaking, I listened to you because I could relate. I understood the whole idea. But Nigerians, I posted a video on my platform. I have a page which has 20,000 followers now. I'm sure 32,000 followers. So anytime you post a picture concerning that, I just I premiere it here. People came in there, attacking. They were is Narrative Africa. Those people that I wanted, who is the owner of that page, Narrative Africa. I'm the owner. I created that page. So people were like, "Who is this man? Who does he know? Why is he pressing Buhari? This one is attacking. This one is like." I was just looking at them. I said, "You don't know anything. This Marshall Plan, as you see, is the only thing that can save Nigeria. We need that investment and to have plans that are bankable." But you saw it. That is why I keep respecting you every day, because people are too emotional. They are carried away by the troubles around them, by a lot of things. But no, you are not like that. You see the future. What is it there tomorrow? Me, I keep seeing positive things about, because the way that country is going, the world won't have any choice than to just accept us the way we are. It's coming with force. Nothing will stop that country. Nothing.
Yeah. Thank God that there are people like you. We need more people who will be more positive about the nation. Thank you so much. And we'll talk to you next time. Blessings.
Thank you so much.